Black Squad, what up? It's been a minute since you seen this in the background, huh? Yeah, it's been a good. I'm gonna say it's been at least a year. It's been a year at least since you seen this background right here. You know, this was usually the background. When I did a Convos with KENYATTA. When I did a Convos with KENYATTA video, this was usually the background. You know, at least, you know, during the spring, summer, and fall. You know, it's been a long time since I came out here and did a video. All spring 2025 and all summer 2025, I have been in the crib or in the car or at work making videos, you know what I mean? I ain't came out here not one time. I took a real early morning drive to try to go handle some business. Ran into some bullshit, got some bad news. Swear to God, it's like I can't fucking win, man. It's like I can't fucking win. So without getting into all that, you know, got back around the way, and I figured since my daughter, probably ain't gonna be waking up for another 30 to 45 minutes, I might as well come out here, kill a little bit of time, and talk my bullshit. Why not? Why not? Yo, for those of you who are on my Facebook, I don't know if you've seen that post that I posted last night or very early this morning. It was probably, I'm gonna say that had to be about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this morning, right? I did a whole 1 hour cook session. I'm talking about a 1 hour cook session, breaking down why Joe Frazier beats Sonny Liston. And tell me why I'm about an hour and 3 minutes into the video. Probably no more than 5 to 10 minutes from wrapping it up. My phone wants to be a little bitch. And I ran out of space on my phone. So now I gotta do that whole video over again. I've been up all fucking night. I don't know if you can see it in my face or hear it in my voice. I've been up all fucking night because I've been slacking. I've been slacking like hell for about the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Slacking like hell on the content. So I said, you know what? I don't gotta work tomorrow. I didn't get nearly as much as I wanted to get done on Saturday. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna stay up. I'm gonna stay up tonight. I'm gonna knock out this long form video breaking down why Joe Frazier beats Sonny Liston, breaking down that fantasy fight. And y'all know with my knowledge of the fight game, I'm breaking it down. I'm really breaking it down why Frazier beats Liston. Right? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that video. That's gonna be some long form content right there. Then I'm gonna try to crank out like 4 or 5 reels before the sun come up. So I got 4 or 5 reels ready to go before the sun comes up. I'll premiere the Why Frazier Beats Sonny Liston video maybe 6, 7 o'clock tonight. And in the meantime, in between time, try to crank out some more shit. I got another idea for a long form video I want to do as far as breaking down why a lot of you brothers who done fell for the fear-mongering tactics of why you need to stay away from white women and other races of women, why that's a bunch of BS, you know, because for some reason in the black community, so many of us like to pretend that it's only white women who screw brothers over in divorce, when obviously we've got example after example after example of black women doing the same exact thing. It's not a white woman thing. It's a woman thing. Robin Givens, you know, Janet Jackson screwed her Arab billionaire husband out of millions of fucking dollars. You know, just a month and a half ago, Toni Braxton was married to Baby for a little less than 30 days and was briefly talking about divorcing him and trying to take half his shit after 30 days of marriage. It's not a white woman thing, it's a woman thing. But, you know, we got people in the black community who because of their feelings towards white people, and that's just the bottom line. It's just the bottom line. Because of their feelings toward white people, they let their emotions toward white people cloud their logic. It's not even so much that they're letting their emotions toward white people cloud their logic as much as it is they're just simply letting their emotions toward white people not allow them to say out loud what they know is the truth, that black women do the same shit in divorce that white women do. You know, because you know the whole Shannon Sharp thing that happened. You know, the white girl got reportedly, allegedly, $23 million up out of him. And you got a whole lot of black people that basically laughing, and you know, you got some black folk that just, they're not necessarily laughing, they just don't feel sorry for him because as far as they're concerned, he shouldn't have been dealing with a white woman in the first place, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna go into a whole breakdown of the numerous black women who've done the same exact shit. And look, we already know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna do the video breaking down the numerous black women who've done the same thing, and all those Negroes who were in the comment section on Facebook, you know, trying to act like it's only white women who do it. None of them are gonna come in the comment section on YouTube and comment and say a mumbling word. They're simply going to hate watch from the fucking clouds, you know. So they can pretend that that was never broken down. It's just, you know. At this stage in the game, men, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Arab, Persian, East Indian, whatever, Eskimo, whatever. Now is not the time to be allowing certain sentiments to cloud our judgment or now is not the time to be allowing certain sentiments to cloud our judgment or have us out in public saying things that we simply know are not true regarding men and what men go through, you know, in relationships and marriage and divorce. Now is not the time for that. You could be the biggest pro-black Egypt, the black woman is God, Negro there is. Okay, you could be Umar Johnson himself. I think Umar Johnson right now is probably the epitome of the pro-black Egypt, the black woman is God, Negro. Okay. But now is not the time to be out here trying to pretend like black women's shit don't stink. Those days are over. Those days are fucking over. You do a disservice to yourself, and you do a disservice to other black men by perpetuating that bullshit. Because the bottom line is, you talking that BS. There's going to be at least one black man standing there listening to you who's actually going to believe the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth. And he's going to go out here in the world on the dating market thinking he's safe as long as he's dealing with a black woman. And thanks to you and your terrible advice, he's going to find out the hard way because of his naivete. Because the bottom line is a lot of men are not that experienced with women. And even men who are experienced with women can also be swayed by their sentiment, by their emotions. A black man with experience with women can be swayed by his sentimental attachment to black women. So when you come along reinforcing myths about the black woman's loyalty, which at this point isn't even a myth, it's just a flat out lie. The idea that the black woman is loyal to the black man, the idea that the black woman is the most loyal woman on the planet is a goddamn lie. It has been a lie from day one. It has been a lie for a few hundred years now. I would argue it's been a lie for over half a millennia. We're looking at 500 to 600 years of the idea of her being the most loyal woman or being loyal at all is a fucking lie. Read Daughters of the Trade. If you haven't read that book, go get it. Read Daughters of the Trade. She's never been loyal. Never. And at this point, we can say with accuracy, she's not even your woman anymore. She is not even your woman anymore. She is the concubine that she was made to be during slavery. And she still operates as the concubine she was made to be in 2025. As much as that hurts, as much as that might hurt your feelings, as much as you might not want to wrap your mind around that reality, it is the reality of the situation. She is the concubine that she was made to be, which is why she has about 1.3 million more children than the black man. The black woman in America has about 1.3 million more children than the black man in America. Who's she making all those children with? She's out here operating as the concubine that she is, the concubine that she was made to be with these other groups of men. And I know what some people might be thinking, but it goes beyond just simply interracial relations or interracial relationships. It goes beyond that. What you have to understand is the cultural differences between different groups of people, and how different groups of people were shaped by historical circumstance and environmental circumstance. We are not all the same people. We are not all the same people, and we are not all doing the same thing for the same reasons. There are black men who voted for Donald Trump. There are racist white supremacists who voted for Donald Trump. They did not vote for Donald Trump for the same reasons. So where, if you take, say, Asian women, for example, since Asian women date outside their race and marry outside their race more than any other demographic, though they date and marry outside their race more than any other demographic, they are not doing so for the same reasons as black women in every case. See what I'm saying? Asian women were shaped by a particular historical circumstance and environmental circumstance. Black women were shaped by an entirely different historical circumstance and an entirely different environmental circumstance, which created two totally different mentalities and two totally different reasons for operating the way they operate. In most cases, we can simply say that the Asian woman just really isn't all that attracted to her man the way other groups of women are attracted to their men. With the black woman, it's a different scenario. And we know that it's a different scenario because when all groups of women are surveyed on the matter, we come to find out that the black man is the second most desired man on the planet. So if the black man is the second most desired man on the planet, and black women obviously have closer proximity to this black man, then obviously black women have first dibs on this black man who is the second most desired man on the planet. Therefore, there is, generally speaking, again, you can hear how tired I am in my voice. Generally speaking, there's not much need, and you would think not much want, for the black woman to date or marry outside of her race. So then you got to ask yourself, how come the black woman has 1.3 million more children than the black man? In spite of the fact that she is leading the way in abortions. So even with the black woman leading the way in abortions, she still has 1.3 million more children than the black man. Which should make you ask another question. If she's got 1.3 million more children than the black man, then obviously those 1.3 million children are coming from interracial relations. Then you've got to ask yourself, in as much as she's leading the way in abortions, but she's also got 1.3 million more children than the black man, whose babies is she aborting? It would seem as though she is more inclined to abort the baby that she knows belongs to a black man than she is to abort the baby that she knows belongs to a man of another group of people. How else do you wrap your mind around that? She's leading the way in abortion. She's having more she's having more abortions than any other group of women. Yet she is the only woman who has more children than her men. 1.3 million. Which means she's being strategic about the baby she's having versus the baby she's not having. The baby she's aborting versus the baby she's not aborting. Like I said, different people may do the same thing for different reasons. So for any non-black people who might be listening and watching, who don't quite understand the cultural differences, who don't quite understand the historical circumstances and environmental circumstances that shaped the mentality of the black woman, I'm trying to paint the picture for you here. Different people might do the same thing for different reasons. Like I said, there are black men who voted for Donald Trump. There are also racist white supremacists who voted for Donald Trump. They did not vote for Donald Trump for the same reasons. Yeah, man. Man, I ain't sat out here in a minute. I ain't sat out here in a good minute, man. I'm definitely gonna do more videos out here. Come out here early morning, crank out some content, get some fresh air, enjoy the quiet, enjoy the scenery. Matter of fact, for those of you who might be new, I'm about to wrap this thing up. I'm out here on the boardwalk. Baby. Getting some fresh air, early morning, some peace and quiet. It's nothing but them folks walking their dogs and jogging and shit out here by the water. You know what's crazy, right? These days, I'm one of the very few people left in Stanford who's actually born and raised here, right? And you know, it's crazy how many people born and raised here right? When I go through my mental Rolodex, you know, people I grew up with, people I went to school with, how many people did not get to see this? You know, most people moved away, whether they moved down south or moved somewhere else. A lot of people in jail, few people dead. Matter of fact, a good friend of mine, I don't want to say no names. Because it's still a sore spot. It's still a sensitive issue, even though it happened so many years ago. A good friend of mine was actually murdered about 4 or 5 blocks from where I'm at right now. Maybe 4 or 5 blocks from where I'm at right now. A good friend of mine was murdered back in, I think that was 08, maybe 08, 09, 2008, 2009. A good friend of mine was murdered about 4 or 5 blocks up the street from where I'm at right now. And none of this shit that you seeing right now, none of this was here back then. None of this. Like, this was the hood back then. Like, this was the ghetto. This was south side of Stanford, baby. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit. I'll say probably 70% of the drugs. In fact, I'm gonna go sit in my car real quick. I'll say probably about 70% of the drugs back then that was moving in Stanford was moving off the south side. And this was the south side back in the day. You know, today it's called the waterfront, right? Today it's called the waterfront, but back in the day, this was the south side. This was the hood back in the day. Yeah. And, it's kind of, hold on. Let me fix this real quick. It kind of sucks, man. It kind of sucks that so many people didn't get to see this. So many people didn't make it to the level of success that, I've personally been able to achieve in life. Yeah. And it definitely wasn't an easy road for me either. Because I was fucked up in the game. Not too long ago. I'll say about, well, at this point, 8 to 10 years ago. About 8 to 10 years ago, I was fucked up in the game, man. So it was I had a hell of a time getting to the level that I've been able to make it to my damn self. You know what I'm saying? But when you make it to this level, you can't help but look back and have a little bit of survivor's remorse. Survivor's remorse is a real thing. It definitely is. Like I mentioned, good friend of mine was murdered about 4 or 5 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. And I saw him about 3 times. I saw him 3 times that day. First thing early in the morning, he came through walking his pit. then later on that afternoon, and then later on, late night, I ran to the store real quick, ran to the corner store. Come out the store, he's standing right there with one of his peoples, you know. Gave him dap, said a few words. All right, man, I'll holler at you later. Going back to the crib. A few hours later, he was dead. A few hours later, he was dead. I'm literally one of the last people he probably had a conversation with. You know, found out first thing in the morning the next day, you know, that he was killed. I'm sitting out on my balcony because at the time I was living on the south side. At the time I was living on Manhattan Street before they tore all that, way before they tore all that shit down. I was living right above Banks Pool Hall. You know, for anybody who's actually from Stanford or familiar with Stanford, I was living right above Frank's or Banks Pool Hall. Early the next fucking morning, I see the fucking coroner van. Came down Manhattan Street and then took a left, going down toward Henry Street. I think that was Henry. Yeah, toward Henry. And at the time, obviously, I didn't know that it was my mans that got fucking murdered. You know. And then later on that day, found out who it was, man, and that shit broke me down, bro. That shit broke me down. So yeah, man, you reach this. You know, I don't know if it's a people thing or what, but as a brother to come from a certain environment and make it to, you know, make it to a place in life where you can honestly say you are successful, you're living well, you don't want for nothing, you don't really need for nothing, you're happy. Like, yo, as far as I know, right here on the waterfront, as far as I know, this is the most expensive area of Stanford. Anybody who knows Stanford, anybody who knows Connecticut knows that Stanford, Connecticut is fucking expensive. Real, no matter where the fuck you live, Stanford, Connecticut is expensive. As far as I know, this is the most expensive part of Stanford, Connecticut. I made it from that to this. So yeah, you know, I'm glad to be here. Don't get it fucked up. Don't get it fucked up. I'm glad to be here. But yeah, I got a little survivor's remorse. Got a little survivor's remorse. There's a little bit of guilt there. I didn't do nothing to nobody, you know what I mean? But there's a little bit of guilt there. You know, how did I make it here? They didn't. You know, you can't help but wish that they would have lived to see this. You know? Let me get my ass up out of here, man. Let me get my ass up out of here. Let me get my ass upstairs. Try to crank out some reels, and I'm gonna try to get over. The bullshit that I went through early this morning. Like I said, that was like 1, 2 o'clock this morning, maybe 3 o'clock this morning. I did a 1 hour cook set. Yo, I went in. I was so happy with that video. A lot of times when I record something, I'm not quite sure of it. I'm like, I don't know. Let me listen to it and see how it sounds, see if I did a good job. You know, and then I'll listen to it and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I did a good job. Let me put that on YouTube. I knew I broke that shit down. I knew I broke that shit down, bro. I'm gonna do it again. But yeah, I got some content coming for y'all, man, for real. And I know I've been saying it forever, but I'm definitely gonna try to get it popping with the long form content, because it's really pissing me off that, you know, when I post my long form content on YouTube, it doesn't get any fucking views. And I think it's because of the fact that I'm constantly posting reels and hardly ever posting long form content. So I think the way the algorithm of my channel is set up, that my long form content just isn't getting pushed. I think what it's going to take is it's probably going to take a good month or two of me cranking out long form content on a consistent basis to, you know, for YouTube to actually push my long form content in the algorithm, you know. And you know what would also help is if you motherfuckers on Facebook would actually come over to YouTube and watch my shit. That would help too. I'd be tagging motherfuckers and all kind of shit, and I'll tag like 200 fucking people in one of my videos, and I'll come back 5-6 hours later, I only got 15 views. What the fuck? I don't know what that shit's about, because y'all motherfuckers hit the like button on Facebook, no problem. No, I think it is people know that you can make money on YouTube, so they don't want to come over and support you on YouTube. They want to support you on Facebook, where they don't think you can make any money. That's Negroes for you. That's exactly why I've been adding way more white people and Latin people and Asian people to my fucking Facebook lately. I'm trying to get all those white folk, those Asian folk, and those Latin folk over to YouTube, where a brother might get some support from these non-black folk, because you Negroes don't like supporting other black people. Your sorry asses. I said it. You know it's the motherfucking truth. You know it's the truth. Especially black men. Black folk do not like supporting black men. Black folk will support black women in their bullshit. In their bullshit. In their degeneracy. In their foolishness. But won't support a black man who's trying to do something good. Not if they think that black man might make some money. Not if they think that black man might come up. Oh no. Oh no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, we're gonna see what kind of support we can get from non-black people over here on Black Squad TV. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, man, let me get my ass upstairs. Matter of fact, I might run. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run the Donut Delight. Get me some. I'm gonna get me a couple turkey, egg, and cheese sandwiches on a croissant, and then I'm gonna run to Dunkin' Donuts and get me a coffee. Cause Donut Delight got the breakfast sandwiches on smash, but Dunkin' Donuts coffee is better than Donut Delight. So I'm gonna go get me some much deserved breakfast. That's what I'm about to do. I've been up all goddamn night. And got very little accomplished. I was supposed to have the long form video of breaking down why Joe Frazier beat Sonny Liston, and I was supposed to have 2, 3, 4, 5 reels ready to go right now. All I had to do was edit them bitches, have them all up by noon. Then I was gonna try to come back, do another long form video. All I can do is try to see what I can get done before the sun goes down on this day. That's all I can do. All right. Anyway, man, y'all be good. I will holler at y'all later. I am KENYATTA Black. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, and there will be a next time, remember, dance and make them dance. But these hands will change your face. Deuces.